Friends, Ash here, Gents. How you do? I'm in a great mood, frankly. I've had so many new fragrances coming in, so I've been able to finally smell some new stuff. It's been rapid fire first impressions videos for me here lately. Now, not all of them have come out yet. I did Bad Boy Extreme. I don't know if this video will be out first or Bad Boy Extreme, but did that one recently. The Scent Magnetic, basically everything I can get my hands on. And I've purchased some other new ones that are on their way. So yeah, it's good. So today I'm gonna be talking about this one, Invictus Victory Elixir from Paco Rabanne. And yes, once again, I had a poor self-control and I opened it up yesterday and wore it yesterday. I knew I wouldn't be able to do a video on it yesterday because it was a busy day, but yeah, I still wore it. I mean, you know, it was Valentine's Day, so yeah. So in today's video, I'll show you guys the presentation. I'll break the fragrance down for you, let you know what my first impressions are, let you know how it stacks up to this one, Invictus Victory, let you know which one I think is better, and all that good stuff. So let's jump into it. I'll have Invictus Victory and Invictus Victory Elixir linked below in case you do want to check those out. Victory Elixir I had to purchase from Europe, so it took a little bit to get here, but not that long actually. All things considered, got here pretty quick. Just longer than it would have taken had I been able to purchase it from like Macy's, is what I mean. And this is not in Macy's yet, but Terra Nova, one of my fragrances, is available at every Perfumania and every fragrance outlet store in the US, along with my other releases, Blue Ridge and Jet Black Enigma. If you have one of those nearby, pop in, give them a whiff, give them a sniff. And if you order them from Michael Malul's website, which is also linked in the description, use code GENTS for 20% off. Basically, this is my form of merch. No t-shirts, just fragrances. Maybe I should make a t-shirt that says that. No t-shirts, just fragrances. Okay, let's go ahead and check out the presentation for Invictus Victory Elixir. So here we got the box. I actually like the color scheme here. This kind of navy blue with gold. I think it looks good. Got the name of the house, name of the fragrance, size and concentration on the front there. Parfum Intense 100 ml size is my bottle. Paco Rabanne logo up top. Nothing on the sides. On the back, a QR code with a little information. It's a vegan formula and very long lasting. On the bottom, your badge code and barcode. Badge code here is 23321. Also, I want to say rest in peace to Paco Rabanne, who passed away very recently. F's in the chat for Paco Rabanne. Gave us some sick fragrances. Whether you love them or hate them, you know about them. And here we have the bottle. Once again, you've got that V for victory right there on the front. The black coloration of the top of the bottle, instead of being a matte finish, is a shiny reflective finish for this one. And it's hard to see sometimes, but it is a gradient. So it's a blue, a dark blue at the bottom, and goes up toward black at the top. The atomizer, of course, built into the top of the bottle as always. And on the bottom, you have your badge code etched into the glass. Now, what do you say we go ahead and share a couple sprays of Invictus Victory Elixir so you can check out the atomizer in action? Here we go. Ooh, it's good, it's good. So, Invictus Victory Elixir. How does it work for me? How do I like it? Do I like it? Well, note breakdown wise, this is one that's, once again, very simplistic. They're not giving us too much information to work with. I'm not a fan of that, but what can you do? It has become much more prevalent here lately, so there's really no point in complaining about it outside of what I just did. So let's just jump into the smell, the scent profile, and the comparison to the original Victory, which actually Victory, pretty much my favorite Invictus up to this point. And that's funny because it doesn't really smell that much like Invictus, at least if you're comparing it to the original Invictus and that whole, you know, scent profile, that DNA that it established. Invictus Victory doesn't really smell like that at all, and yet that is my favorite one. Okay, so Victory Elixir. It opens up with a little bit of a fizziness, this kind of fizzy sweetness. It's going to remind you a little bit of other fragrances out there, just in the way that it's put across. You know, it's something that we've seen done before with fragrances like Code Absolute. And to be fair here, I'm not saying that this smells like Code Absolute. And also Pure Excess. And again, it doesn't smell like Pure Excess. But what I mean by that is it has that kind of, that like zingy, kind of sweetness, where instead of just being very thick and heavy, it's got like some liveliness to it. Ginger, not an official note here, but often ginger is used in fragrances to get across that kind of liveliness in the opening. And this has a bit of that. It smells great. I absolutely love it. The opening is not as sweet as Invictus Victory. Invictus Victory also comes across smelling a little bit more youthful. Invictus Victory Elixir has a slightly more grown-up edge to it than the original Victory does. For just a split second there in the opening of Victory Elixir, you can pick up like fruity nuances. Again, there's no official fruits in the opening here, and it does come across a little bit like lemon, but it is muted. It's not really at the forefront, and it fades away pretty quickly. As it dries down, you pick up a little bit of this kind of incensey waft that comes through with Invictus Victory Elixir. Not a heavy incense, not a dry incense either. It maintains that sweetness pretty well. It's more like just an addition to the vanilla to an extent, the way that incense comes across. Like you could say it's like an incandescent black vanilla. And that would work, yeah. There are at times with Invictus Victory Elixir a little bit of a creaminess to it, and that comes in pretty early on. It's very smooth, especially compared to the original Victory. The original Victory has a lot more of, like I said, this youthful kind of edge to it. And this one, Victory Elixir, is like everything has been smoothed out, rounded off. So you get this sort of creaminess. Some people have compared it to the smell of Le Beau Le Parfum from Jean Paul Gaultier, this kind of like tropical little hint that the fragrance has. And I picked that up, especially as the opening segs into the mid and heads through the mid. You can really pick up that slight, almost coconut kind of aesthetic in Invictus Victory Elixir. But as you move around, this stuff is just killer. It's got just the right amount of sweetness where it's not overloaded. So it maintains that mass appeal, that compliment factor extremely well, because as we all know, sweet fragrances, a lot of times, those are it. When you're looking for positive attention in fall and winter time, like that's a lot of times what you want to go for. As it dries down, you get a little more of that tonka that comes out. I don't pick up as much of that until it starts to head through the mid, but as that tonka comes out, mixes together with the vanilla, with that incense, with that little bit of a playful tone that it has from that kind of coconut-ish vibe. It doesn't really have that bit of spiciness that Invictus Victory has. Invictus Victory, of course, is not heavy on spice, but you can pick up bits and pieces, little pops of it as the fragrance dries down. Invictus Victory Elixir, you don't get so much of that, and that is going to be part of the reason why it does come across smelling smoother than the original Victory, is because instead of having those little kind of zings of maybe a little aromatic touch here or a little bit of fresh spice there, those are kind of smoothed out once again, and instead you have this vanilla, amber, tonka, really kind of shoring up those spots where those spices would have been. And as I said, Invictus Victory Elixir, much smoother, much creamier than Victory, and the sweetness is just more well done, if I had to say, yeah. The very first time that I sprayed on Invictus Victory Elixir, I was unsure for about 5 seconds. And then as soon as it settled, I knew. Like, this is going to be one of my favorite releases of the year. For me, this is one of those circumstances where it's a clear evolution of the fragrance that came before it. So when you wear these side by side, you absolutely 100% get the similarity between the two. But this one just smooths out every rough edge that Victory might have had. It dials things in a little bit better. It's like the equalizer has been done here. Like if you look at an EQ, you know, for a sound wave, like maybe Invictus Victory had a little bit too much of the highs over here and maybe not enough of the lows, at least for some people. Again, I personally think Invictus Victory is the best Invictus up until now. But then Victory Elixir just, brings everything into perfect harmony for this type of scent. Now, some people are gonna smell Invictus Victory Elixir and they'll be able to draw some comparisons. to some other things out there. Again, Le Beau, Le Parfum, obviously Invictus Victory. Maybe to a lesser extent, something like Pure Excess, Jean Paul Gaultier Scandal, things like that. And they're going to be able to draw some of those comparisons and then say, well, you know, it smells like you took part of this, part of that, part of this, part of that, part of this, part of that, and put it together. Therefore, I think that it's generic or boring. I'm not really a huge fan of viewing fragrances in that way, because I mean, you can do that with just about everything, whether it's niche, indie, or designer. You know, 25% of that, 50% of that, 15% of that, 10% of that. If you write off an entire fragrance's existence because you can pick out, you know, the opening is a little bit similar to that, and the mid is a little bit similar to this, and yeah, it's its own thing, but blah, 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 blah. If you start judging fragrances that way, you miss out on so much, and it's kind of a closed-minded way to approach things, in my opinion. No shot to you. No, it's not me trying to take shots at you if you generally approach things that way. It's just I think there are better ways to do it. The main one being, do I like the way that this smells? If the answer is yes, then all the other stuff doesn't really matter that much, frankly. And do I like the way this smells? Oh yeah. Invictus Victory Elixir. This is my favorite release so far this year, and I think I've said that now like 3 times. Like, each one is getting progressively better that I smell. I know that at some point there's going to be something that I'm looking forward to this year that just completely falls flat and is total trash. And yes, there are some fragrances that have come out this year where maybe I like the opening a lot more than the mid and the dry down, or vice versa. But even those ones where I'm like, yeah, this part is so much better than the other parts, even those ones still overall are solid. So it's been a great year so far. But this one, to date, is my favorite of the year, and there's not a thing I would change about it. This is one of those deals where if I were the creative director and they were like, okay, how would you improve this? And I smelled it, I would just say, nothing. Leave that alone. Invictus Victory Elixir, yes. Hard yes. If you like fragrances like the ones that I've mentioned so far in today's video, check it out as soon as you can. When it gets into the US stores, smell it, try to get a sample, do whatever. But for me, this stuff is a hit. Performance, by the way, classic Paco Rabanne at this point. Strong. Lasts a long time off my skin, projects really well. All day yesterday, moving out and about, moving around in cool weather, easily picked it up. And as far as seasonal use, for me, fall and winter time. And it's more of a nighttime scent than a daytime scent overall. It's got a bit of a punch for spring, maybe early spring when it's still cool, you could wear it. But once it starts to heat up and get into summer, nah, go for something else. So there we have it, Victory Elixir. This is my style. Invictus is like, I don't know, I'm starting to like Invictus now. I went from a hater of the original Invictus and then being lukewarm on some of the flankers that came afterward to being, pretty pleased. All right, guys, that'll do it for me. Invictus Victory Elixir. Keep your eyes open for it. Again, linked in the description. I would typically tell you to wait, you know, until it's in the US, but I'm glad I didn't. Thank you all for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.